hell of what they're saying because there was no thinking behind it. This is a clearly defined strategy as to where we want to go. Look at the small business development fund that we want to create.
Is the fund different from the bank?
The bank,
Mm,
the bank.
mm.
So what does this bank target? This bank target to address a number of issues. How do we ensure there's financial inclusion, access to liquidity, access to capital for all Guyanese? So one of the big things that small business face is the collateral requirement, two, the technical requirement, and three, the invoice time, you know, the time it takes for them to be paid. So we have to solve that. That is why we said we'll bring a development bank that will lend at 0%, but a commercial bank can co-invest with us, reduce their risk, which reduce the need for collateral and reduce the interest, and then incentivize the system like we did for low-income housing to give them incentives for lending to SMEs. And then what do we do? How do we create opportunities that are uh, scaled up for these SMEs to invest in also? That is why I tell you about the demand, the steel plant, the fertilizer plant, the all the other opportunity, gas opportunity, the gas terminal, refined product. But not only building out those, but finding ways in which the average investor and average Guyanese family can be part of these development, can be part of these economic opportunities, so that it's financial inclusion, it's inclusion in wealth creation, and it's advancing the country.
So I wanted to continue the discussion on shifting growth poles. Something very interesting I found in the manifesto. It talks about redefining roles of local authorities. I wanted you to explain what is meant by that. Is it that you're going to give NDCs, for example, more resources so they can take care of the garbage collection and all of this that you talk about?
So it's an interesting observation, Neil. Well, let me put it this way. We are already devolving more resources going now to the NDCs and the hinterland communities also. So there's more responsibility to come with those resources. Right now, we're investing to give every NDC a modern fire truck to respond to fires. We're investing in all their roads and drains. We're putting in street lights in all their communities. We are investing in recreational facilities. We're investing in solid waste disposal site so that they can have proper garbage collection. So when we say evolving, there is already an evolving role for the local authorities, the NDCs, the RDCs, the village council. That role is evolving. It's evolving because of the type of resources they now are managing and the type of assets that we are passing down to them. Because we want democracy and efficiency to be built at every single level. So it's very important that we invest at the community level, at the NDC level, at the village level, not only from a physical perspective or from an asset perspective or a financial perspective, but building out the human capital, building out the regulations, improving the regulations, making them more efficient. Because most times the population interact directly with these bodies, and if they don't have the capacity and capability, if they don't have the human resource asset, if they don't have the technical skills, then the service that the citizenry would love to enjoy as a result of the investment we're making may not be enjoyed. And that is what we meant. It's time, I think, that we take a deep dive to restructure these bodies, ensure that they are well staffed, fully equipped, and ensure that they have more transparency, more accountability, and to create more service-oriented, service-friendly environment for all of these bodies.
Now, coming to Hinterland and Amerindian development, in the manifesto it speaks about 5,000 new projects. What are you talking about?
So, we have had the National Two Showers Council meeting every year. I've had hundreds of meetings all across the hinterland. Some people woke up a few months ago and believed that they're specialists on the hinterland. That aside, I've been going all my life to the hinterland. I had the honor and privilege of serving uh, President Jagdeo when he was president. Um, and one of the things that we had to do when he was president, because we had limited resources, was to live in these communities. Sometimes we live in communities for 3 weeks because there's only so much money to take you in, and you don't come. You make sure you finish all the work before you come out. Today, people go in and come out the next day because of more resources and efficiency in the system. Uh, so now let's come back to the village council. Now we have the LCDS, which is working for the communities themselves. Resources going directly. We have the presidential grant. We have the national budget that is transferring resources. We have committed to building out the recreational facilities, the school facilities, the health facilities, the road. But when you look at these communities themselves and the leaders in these communities, it's amazing. And I want to congratulate all of them. They are now also thinking at a much larger level and a much larger scale. They're talking about food security, not only for themselves, but food security for Guyana. They're talking about climate resilient projects. They're talking about grid system. They're talking about building networks, treated water, community organization in terms of building in communities, uh, which is semi-urban type of planning. They're talking about investment in tourism. Look at this, brilliant. I sat down with the leadership of the South Rupununi, how they protect um, the Essequibo River head, and how to protect the biodiversity. They are completely engaged in this national conversation. And even their aspirations, their goals, and what they want to achieve from their community is very different from 20 years ago. It's almost there's almost no different from what we want out here. So that is why at the Hinterland community, when we said 5,000 projects, it's about how we integrate these communities. How do we ensure that they have similar facilities? How do we ensure that we take labs? Because children in there now are going to secondary schools now. They all want to be doctors, lawyers, engineers. We have to take in the services to help them to have access to pursue those careers. And that is what we're doing. When you look at the last 70 cadet recruit, 10 of whom are now coming from indigenous communities because they now have access to secondary education. So they want housing projects. They want organized housing. So the needs of the hinterland is also changing. The priorities is changing based on the development they have seen and their access to resources, and knowing that they have a government in the People's Progressive Party Civic that is listening to them, that is working with them, that want to see them advance, and that is investing to give them the best possible life. So this is important for us to understand. So over the last 5 years, we have had conversation at varied level with our indigenous brothers and sisters at the level of the Tushao, the National Tushao Conference, at the level of the community, and these conversations would have been continuous. As a result, we've been able to work with them. This is a plan that came from them, even through the consultation, on what those priorities are. What are the key projects that will propel these communities forward to ensure that they are food secure and that their economy is integrated into the national economy? So, for example, we're working with Embrapa to help in the Rupununi and elsewhere to develop what they call mega farmsteads that will help to support what we want to do in Georgetown, whether it's corn, soya, silage, whether it's the feed production, livestock, expansion of their own livestock. They're now talking about marine cage farming. So it's changing to the extent that miners will tell you today that the villagers who used to go to work in the mines are saying to them, yeah, it doesn't make sense for me to leave home for 3 months anymore because I'm getting the same money in the village because of the opportunity that exists in the village now. So it's that's not, that new wave of thinking that we are encouraging from this from a village economy to a more integrated economy. Village economy, yes, but integrated into what else is happening within the region, and how do we support their productivity and the expansion in production. That is why we have been supporting, for example, in the cassava mill, and then having that product integrated into value creation. So the hinterland is a fantastic story that is unfolding. How do we co-invest with them to build out what I would say tourism facility at scale, because tourism facility at scale is very, very important. um, you can have you can and that is why we're building the airports, and we're redoing all of the hinterland airstrips to make them longer, safer, because one of the main things for the people in the hinterland is access to market for their product and the cost of transportation, and we're investing to ensure that their cost of transportation come down and they have access to markets so that the input costs can come down, their profitability can go up. And how do we support adding value on what they create? So those are also key part of what we're doing. So all of these infrastructure will be linked to doing things at scale. So if you go at Rojo, you know this. All the hotels are booked out for Rojo next year since Rojo was completed this year. So how do we expand that market as an all-year market and then create enough capacity within the market to take it to the next level? Those are the type of things that, and of course, very important for the hinterland is how do we invest in maintaining that strong cultural heritage, expanding the cultural heritage. And let me come to that as I'm cultural, because I don't want to escape this thought to escape me. Very important in this Vision 2030 is our Guyanese in the arts. Not only our artists, but every single one in the arts and culture. Whether you are a writer, whether you're a poet, the fashion industry, we're going to invest a lot of money to support our young people, support the arts, support our fashion industry, and to make that part of our national identity, to create avenues through which these skills can be developed, upscaled, harnessed, and the economic empowerment and bringing in that market opportunity for all of them. So you will see a lot of investment in that too, in the arts and culture and in this national identity. Not only investment from the point of view of keeping it alive, but investment from the perspective of making it marketable, of creating revenue out of it, of ensuring that entertainment, arts, culture uh, play an important part of that economic uh, uh, transformation and that um, economic expansion that we're talking about. That's why I spoke about a modern indoor facility, arena facility, where we can host international events, where our local talent can have exposure. Our local talent can find a stage with international talent so that they have exposure and they benefit from what you call the pass on or knock on effect. Because, in sports, in arts, is getting spotted. You have to get spotted. And that ignites opportunities.
I want to continue on that train of thought because I was looking at the pledges that in the manifesto for youth, sport, and culture. I wanted to know on what basis um, you've made those pledges. I was looking for a mention of a policy in those three areas, but I didn't see it. So can you talk more about that? Of how do you make what an artist does their livelihood?
Well, that we have started that project in the last 5 years, and it's understanding first of all that they're an important part of the structure of our society. They're an important part of the economy itself and the type of opportunities that we can build in the economy. And from that perspective, understanding that, I saw one presidential candidate said he would scrap the global super league. You don't understand what he's talking about. The size of the sports market and the opportunity that comes to the sports market is enormous. We have to talk about how we expand that. How do we get all the players to buy into that? And that is that's where we're going. But more importantly, how do we take that to football? How do we take that to squash? How do we take that for our artists? If we don't give our artists the platform or invest in the platform, whether it's investment in studios across all the region, investment in literacy club, investment in the secondary school, expanding the arts, section in the secondary school system, primary school system, building and investing in culture and cultural heritage. All of these things, it's about creating an awakening, I would say, in these areas. We are a sleeping giant in all of these areas. And these are areas that are critically integrated in our tourism, critically integrated in our national identity and in our heritage. And there's no price that you can put to that. The country has to understand that we have to value these people who are investing in developing their talent and who are investing to ensure this identity of what makes us Guyanese, this cultural heritage, this the heritage of our arts and our identity that is protected, is expanded, and is marketed. Look at our fashion. How do we build out the fashion industry? We just had Origins this year, and you saw the overwhelming response we had for that. How do we make it? How do we take it on the global scale? And those are the things we're talking about. Exciting things for the future. Silica City, you will have international golf course managed by international players who will have to market that to golfers internationally. When they come, these are top tier tourists. When they come, they want to see the country's art, culture. They want to see the expression of the country and people. So the opportunities, as I said, are enormous. I know we are running out of time, um, but I want to say to you that investment in our human capital and our people is also an important plank of this manifesto. How do we ensure that we invest in our people to give them a quality of life that enable them to live a more fulfilling life? And that has been addressed holistically in this manifesto. Job creation. From day one, we'll be out of labor because to implement this, you look at 40,000 houses and a minimum of 5 persons per houses. That's 200,000 jobs continuously
I
over
just
the
want to
next
stitch
five
in a
years.
quick one on that. Why are you building houses instead of giving the house lots and letting people build their
So
houses?
we have seen the houses that we have built. There's enormous demand for it, and because of everybody in our professionals and in the work environment, there's a high demand for the homes. So when we say building, it's not only the government building, but to achieve 40,000, we will have to build a lot of that too. When I say government, in support with the private sector, but there will also be the opportunity for others to build. The idea here is that we must have 40,000 houses built. And if you look at uh, $15 million, let us say $15 million per house. That
A
that
flat two bedroom?
Yeah, let's say a minimum
Mm.
investment of 15 million, because some will be less low income, some will be higher. You look at the value creation. You look at the value creation you're talking about. That's hundreds of billions of dollars of injection in the economy. So that one project alone, and we want, like, let's take the highway for example, the Linden Suicide Highway, and let us take Timeri. I've already said that we have now the full mapping of that area. The North Timeri, I think that's the area behind behind the airport. That area now, most of it we know we can regularize now. So that infrastructure to build and regularize that whole area, and everybody now knowing that they have land tenure and ownership will be improving their homes. Building out of Yarra 500 homes, and the homestead going there, regularizing housing, and not only regularizing, but organizing the housing along the road, along the Linden Suicide Highway, ensuring they get water, ensuring they have title to their home so they can go to the bank, they can raise financing, ensuring they have good roads, accessibility to services, medical services, educational services, and building out right along the highway and addressing those issues. That's a big plan from day one. I think within the first 6 months, we'll have a comprehensive development plan in place for the regularization process of those persons on the highway. And where it is difficult, we will organize them into housing. We'll organize them into housing along the highway. We're talking about thousands of families that will benefit from this program, and they will benefit almost instantaneously. We already have a plan. The last 3 years has been difficult because there was a lot of conflict on who owned what. So what we're doing now, we have a proper occupational survey, we have proper demarcation, we have completed the block planning. So it's now moving into the final stage of letting people know which area, what, and how we're going to regularize them. But everybody will be in a housing setting that is of dignity and honor along the highway. Just giving you an example. Then you look at Linden, uh, building out that housing, continuing that project for another 1,000 homes. But if you look along the coast, we're already embracing the wetlands. So we have maximized where we can go. That is why the investment now opening up the Sand Hill Road link, opening up Wales, going all the way back to the Sand Hill Road, opening up the Del Conte route, opening up the Palmyra area in Region 6, Molson Creek in Region 6, investing now the regions. Region 1, Region 2, Region 9 want expanded housing. Region 8, they all want settlement style development now. So all of these areas we've completed the last 5 years. Why you see this magnitude of transformation? Behind all of that, a lot of work has been ongoing on this infrastructure layout for the next 5 years. So that is what you'll see implemented at a rapid pace.
Mr. President, the thing that bothers people a lot is that being able to access regular services continues to be a headache. You got online of hours for passport office before daybreak sometimes. In this manifesto, you talk, it talks about a My Guyana app. You've spoken about other apps also. What's the plan? How soon will those
we
things come
already
on
have
board?
a One Guyana AI app
Yeah.
that's out there. We want everybody to use it. Everything is going to go on a digital platform. So we don't want people to be in lines anymore. You must be able to conduct government business on your bed.
On your phone.
Or on your phone, on your bed. You go home at night, you take 20 minutes, you conduct all your financials, business, and everything. But importantly, we have to migrate people to that because we'll have to do a lot of training, building out the platform, and that has already started. Or immigration services or GRO services, all of these things. You don't need to fill out forms if somebody die, go to public health, go to fire, go here. You fill out one set of forms online and you go. You go to one office, the entire system is integrated. So if you go there and they need something from GRO, they can go on the system and get it from GRO. They don't need to tell you go back to GRO and come back. So taking out that bureaucracy. And a lot of times it's human biases in the system itself. How do we take away that human bias? It's technology. Take, for example, someone coming into the airport now. You come through the electronic gate only if you are specially selected by a screening process and they need secondary, you go to another line. But then when you go, you don't need a custom officer to randomly decide, I'll go, you come here, I'll check your bag, you come there. We're putting in modern modern scanners. So all the bags come through the scanner. And it's not only linked there, it is integrated into a system that stores the data. So we have traceability, building accountability into the system. So all the bags pass through the scanner. And when all the bags pass through the scanner, whatever they see in the scanner, that is how decision is made. And everything can be checked back. That's important. There's a database, adding that layer of accountability, building out an integrated security port system to keep our ports safe, fighting off illicit trade, drugs, whether it's drug, gold, or whatever. We're building an integrated system. We've already decided with Colombia. We're going to talk to Colombia, Suriname, our US partners, Brazil, and the RSS in the Caribbean to have an integrated system through which we deploy our assets in totality to fight illegal activity. Reform of the tender system, because we have all of these small contractors now. We have to have a tier system. So we need massive reform in the tender system. That will be an immediate task. The implementation of the One Guyana Commission, getting to work, right? So the modernization of our financial system and infrastructure, from the central bank coming right down, putting a technical team to work from day one to deal with this, the modernization of the financial sector. So it is many moving parts that will have to come together at a very fast pace and in record time.
You don't speak like a man who planned on losing these elections. What are you going to be doing in the next 2 weeks to ensure that that happens, that you're reelected?
So the next 2 weeks is continuing to do what we have done over the last 5 years. We're still delivering schools, we're still delivering hospital, but continuing to let the people know that this is a government they can trust. This is a government that has delivered. This is a government that has stuck to its commitment it made to the people. This is a government that will continue to work for you. And this is the government with a clear plan that is measurable, that is implementable, and a plan to take this country into prosperity and to build a Guyana 2030 that is not behind any other country in the world. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.